All right, we're back. To those on the teleconference line who was following along, you will get a new link for the live stream. So just check your email, your text message, Salak. Check your text message in the next few minutes, first few seconds. All right. Salak, Yahweh Kanan, that last verse that you read, I think we need you to read it again because we went out in the feed.
Isaiah 31. Yeah, the feed with Nabi out there too, Shema, because it went out when he was speaking also.
Oh, okay, Khan. On the live stream?
Yeah, because they have you on live stream on YouTube and have you on the phone also.
Okay.
But you get you on YouTube on the TV. So it just went like, thank you for watching, blank. I'm like, what?
Right. So Yahweh Kanan, if you could read that again, and also Khan Nabiyah.
Proverb, Isaiah 31 verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay in horses and trust in chariots, because there are many.
So what is that saying?
So that's saying about the Most High mustering off the battle.
Mm-hmm.
And they go into Egypt for help. This is the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Like Guam and stuff. They're wanting to see the United States. With their bases and their tanks and horses and stuff like that.
Khan.
World superpower.
And no, he read Isaiah 31 and 1.
Oh.
Kahon Nabiyah has Proverbs 18:24.
Proverbs 18 and 24. A man that has friends must show himself friendly. And there is a friend that's sticking closer than a brother. So it's showing that we have to get a lot of allies. We have to do and say things that are according to what they want. Go along with them.
Khan. So now let's go back. Let's go back to Revelation 16 and 2 again and read on. It says in Revelation 16 and 2, and the first went out, first angel, and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast, and upon them which worship his image. Right? So the Most High is causing destruction also amongst these individuals, because when you link this back with Revelations 18 and 7, it says the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. Right? So this is again still part of this vial of this noisome and grievous sore which was put upon all men. So again, this is Revelations 8 and 7 to link with this 16 and 2. Right? So it was giving you different pictures. John the Revelator was given different snippets of the same type of events in different visions. Different types of visions, but they all correlate to the same thing. Right? Look at it as if when you look at the gospel, in certain portions of the gospel, you'll see Mark take a vantage point and see something. Luke see the same thing or be at the same place, but it'll show you something a little bit more deeper than what Mark showed you. Right? So John is by himself with Yahushua being shown these visions, but it's at different places or points in time, showing you the same things, but from different time periods and different perspectives.
Like this going to take place at this time, and this going to take place at this time. But basically, it's all the same.
Right. It's not even as like saying you watching something right now and they give you a preview of something, right? And it says, listen, when you see them, you walk, you see a commotion going on down the street. You're like, yo, it's a whole bunch of people. They look crazy, right? But that's all you see. Then later on, different period in time, a week or two or three go by, And then you see the same street or the same commotion that was going on in that street, but you get a different perspective. You find out that, oh, somebody got shot, and the people is upset because the brother got shot. And the cops is over here, defending the police officer who shot him. So the crowd, the mob is now going crazy. And now people are getting maced and sprayed. So now you say, oh, I kind of understand and see a little bit more now as time goes on in your different visions, right? So John has been shown this throughout the course of what we read in Revelations, because he was shown about the beast with 7 heads, 10 horns many times now that we've read it. But it just goes a little bit deeper, or it just associates itself with something else, right? So that's what you get here. So you see here, it talks about a noisome and grievous sore fell upon him in 16, but then it says here that hail and mingled with blood was cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees was burnt up, and all the green grass. So, that's going into destruction, that's going into calamities that's now happening in the earth amongst the nations and even Israel, because a lot of our people have also received the mark of the beast, right? Some of us who received the mark is hoping, well, I don't even know if they're hoping, but we're hoping that some of them who have the mark get their brains washed and then receive the Most High Yahweh's mark, as we once had the mark of the beast. We once kept certain holidays, right? We once stood for certain policies. We once thought we should go out there and vote and do certain. We once had this mentality of, we got to bring down our own brethren to excel or exceed. That's Esau's mentality. That's not ours, right? We came out of that through the grace and will of the Most High and Yahweh, so that now we can see things a little bit more clearer, right? We can see ourselves clearer. What is that? I think it's in Corinthians, where it talks about looking at a glass darkly. Con, get that real quick, Con. 1 Corinthians 13:12. This doesn't link with anything in Revelations, but just now that we've come out of the world and now we're in the process of learning more and more about ourselves. Start at 11.
1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. When I became a man, I put away childish things.
Right. So that's us when we was in the world, now coming into the truth. You was like a little infant, asking questions, right? Trying to understand, learn the direction, learn the right path. What should I do? How should I think? Where should I go? Who is this? Who's my friend? You asking these questions just like a little kid does. But then as you grow up and you mature and you become as a man, you start to put away all of those childish things because you have a greater goal in store. But at the same time, you're still learning this process of what it is to be a perfect man or a perfect woman before the Most High in Christ. Read on.
Verse 12, but now we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known.
Right, so now those coming in is kind of dim. You kind of don't see the full picture. When we first had this back in the days, in ancient times, we knew this face to face. We understood what the Most High required of us, but we chose to go and follow after the world, right? But then it says, now I know in part. You don't know everything fully, but you're getting there. You're trying to become that perfect man. But then it says, but then shall I know even as I am known. Known by whom?
Your input is invalid.
The Most High and Yahweh Shah. Known by the Most High and Yahweh Shah. So as the Most High and Yahweh Shah created us, that's who we're trying to come to understand. Who am I? What is my goal? What is my goal? And what are my talents? What is it that I'm going to do for you, Most High Yahweh Shah? You're going to be known as you are known. You're going to come to know who you are. You're going to get that new name. You're going to remember and enjoy all the things of the future and forget those things from the past. All that's just a transition, right? Of coming out of the world now into this truth. Coming out of the mark of the beast, coming into the receiving the seal and the mark of the Most High. All right, now let's go back. That was 1 Corinthians 13, 11, and 12. And now we're back in Revelation 16 and 3. It says, and the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. Right? So it says when the second angel went out, it is as if he poured his vial, and it made the sea. It says it became the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. Right? So now when you link this back with Revelations 8 and 8, it says, and the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea. And the third part of the sea became blood, right? So it was as a great mountain with fire was cast into the sea. Meaning a mountain in the scriptures is almost like what? Not a group of people. Not a group of people, but something you can look at it along the same lines.
Think about in Isaiah, everybody can start to flow.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord shall be established on top of the mountain.
Right.
And shall be exalted above the hills, all nations are born.
Right. So what is that mountain supposed to represent?
Kind of rulership or something?
Right. Like a kingdom.
Oh, kingdom.
Right.
Oh, the mountain represents
A mountains, when you read them in the scriptures, go to Jeremiah, and we're going to come back to Isaiah. Go to Jeremiah 51. (51:24). Yeah. Jeremiah 51:24. So in Jeremiah 51:24 it says, and I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea and all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, saith the Lord. Now, the beauty of how the Most High facilitates giving us understanding, at the time that Jeremiah was prophesying, he was speaking about actual Babylon, right? Babylon was there. We were in the midst of captivity of the Babylonians. But the same parallel of what the ancient Babylonians did is somewhat similar to what the future Babylonians did. When I say future Babylonians, who am I talking about? Who is the future Babylonians that I'm referencing? America, Esau, right? Edom, the daughter of Babylon, right? So now you got ancient Babylon, it says, who in the end of 4, it says, all the evil that they have done in Zion in your sight. Who's Zion? Us, Israel, right? So the ancient Babylonians did certain things to us. Now it says in verse 25, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord. So when it says destroying mountain, who is he talking about? Babylon. And who are the Babylonians here? The Chaldeans. Who are the Chaldeans? So-called Africans, right? Right? Also known like Ethiopians, right? These are the ones who were classified as being a mountain, not just a mountain, a destroying mountain. They were the empire, the kingdom at that time, right? But the Most High said he was against thee. It says, which destroyeth all the earth, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks and will make thee a burnt mountain. A burnt mountain, Gabar.
No, there specifically you talk about America.
We're here?
Yeah, it's a burnt
Right, but that's why I say this is the beauty or the correlation of what we're now seeing in Revelation, because certain things were for that time and certain things were also prophetic. Sometimes the things that happen to those ancient kingdoms is the same parallel of what's going to happen to the future ones. So when he's prophesying about what was going to happen to them, it was also going to happen to the future remnant of what was going to be like the Babylonian, which is Edom. So that's why I wanted to go there, because it's now talking about, when we look in Revelations 8:8, with the second angel, which is the same second angel that we read in 16, it says, and the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning, right? So now it's burnt. It ain't burnt, it's burning, meaning what? It's now starting to fall, right? The Most High is beginning to have this nation's kingdom start to fall. It's burning from the inside, and the Most High is starting to put that vibration out in America. It's just not happening right now. It's been happening, right? A lot of the things that's been going on with their policies and their doctrine and thing, it's what's causing it to fall, right? What does it say? What's that verse that you always quote, Kanabiya? Sin is a what to any nation?
Oh, it's a reproach.
Is a reproach to any nation, any people. Any same thing, sin. So now as they excel and just get higher and higher and with their sin, the Most High says, listen, same thing happened to them of what they've done, not only to just in America, in the world, but even to Israel. I'm going to burn you. I'm going to roll you down. I'm going to bring you down, is what the Most High is doing. So now you have certain areas where these prophecies are starting to happen within the kingdom. All right, so Jeremiah 51:24 to 25.
Yes, the Ethiopians, didn't they fall to the Egyptians? I remember part in the Red Sea, and they said, I give you Ethiopian when they was bringing their treasures to Egypt.
When who was bringing their treasures to Egypt?
You know, like that movie, The Ten Commandments, when they had conquered the Ethiopians, and then they were bringing their
the Ten Commandments?
To the Pharaoh.
You talking about the Ten Commandments with Moses?
Yeah, that clip. I think, didn't they get conquered by the Egyptians?
Who, the Ethiopians? No, I'm not sure. I think you're probably mixing.
No, because I remember a clip in Charleston has supposed to play Moses. He said, I give you an Ethiopian. They had like all these treasures and diamonds.
Oh, as far as for the realm, the kingdom, like that realm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I mean, yeah, so putting it into perspective, you have, just like how you have we're just talking about as friends or confederates. Sometimes you'll have it where a nation doesn't probably have to go to war with another nation for them to be in subject unto them, right? They could just make an agreement to say, listen, I wave the white flag, right?
Exactly.
What do you need? What do you desire? Right? Oh, you want us just to pay this tribute to you, this tax to you, and you'll let us alone. You'll protect us. If you need help, we'll come help you, right? But you cannot do what you want to do on your own anymore. You're subject to us. That's what usually happens. Same thing as we read in the Maccabees, what the jostling between the Greeks and the Romans and different rulers, they did that with Israel. At certain points, they would say, you know what? You ain't got to pay us tribute no more, right? You can go out there and keep your laws and do the things, sacrifice that you want to do to the Most High. Long as we good, we're good, right? But don't side with them, right? Don't side with those guys over there. And I'm gonna let you live, let you do what you need to do, right? Sometimes that happens, and then you can say, you know what? I'll put you ruler over this people, right? Remember, in the New Testament, Herod was king in Judea, right? But Israel was still allowed to go and worship the Most High. We still had the temple at that time, right? We're still able to go and do certain things until the Most High ended that, deaded that, right? So now let's go back to Revelation 16. Oh, it's a lot.
It was Proverbs 14:34.
The water. Proverbs 14 and 34 about sin being a reproach to any people. 14:34.
Even though we know the law was given to Israel, it's still going to be the downfall of all nations, as it has been.
Right.
What was Isaiah?
You mean Jeremiah?
So you had mentioned going back to Isaiah.
Isaiah 31:1 was what Yahweh read a little while ago, but I didn't think did I quote reference Isaiah? I think I did.
Yeah, I got the 31:1, and I got 13:4.
Oh, okay.
Because it said with Isaiah 2 for the mountain, right?
Right. Jeremiah. Oh, Absalat. Yes. Isaiah 2. What is it? 2 and 2. Isaiah 2 and 2.
Son.
About Mount Zion. Come. So now let's go back to Revelation 16, and we have verse 3. I'm going to read 3 again and go into 4. It says, and the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. Right? So now we know about physical and spiritual deaths. So along with what's going out, it's dealing with those from the mark of the beast. It isn't talking plagues and the curses that the Most High is putting upon about just right, those who have it. That's why the Lord tells you in Revelations 18:4, come out of her, my people, that you receive not of her plagues. That's why in the verse before it said that happened, that noisome and grievous sore fell upon those who had the mark of the beast. Right? That deals with a lot of things, from diseases, pestilences, just going through all the things the Lord is bringing upon different people from different stages in life. That's happening to them. So we want to keep ourselves from it so that we don't receive of those plagues. So the Lord has these angels going out to start stirring up these different commotions that's happening in the earth. Some on a low level and then some on a high level, right? Verse 4, it says, and the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of waters, and they became blood. Right? So this is almost like Exodus during the time of Egypt, when the Most High had Moses go and turn the rivers, and every drinking water and everything turned into blood. And they said they couldn't drink anything, right? It was, how you going to bathe? How you going to do? The Most High now, that was a physical turn the rivers and everything in the blood. Say again? That's literal? No, I said back then it was literal. Right. So now when you link this back up with Revelations 8 and 10, Revelations 8 and 10, it says, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of that star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter, right? So now the Lord is causing plagues to happen even in the things that we might consume, spiritually or even physically. It's bitter. You know how something you eat something bitter to the taste? I remember when we went through this early in the year, and I told y'all I tasted wormwood and how it jacked me the hell up, right? Yeah, it was in Europe. Yes, it's called absinthe, but it has wormwood in it. The worm is like a herb, like a wood itself, like a herb on the vine. They take it and they put it within the drink, and they let it ferment in the drink, and it's very bitter. So when you drink it, it's supposed to have you hallucinate, right? It causes you to kind of lose your vision, your focus, right? And they say if you drink 3 shots of it, you really start seeing things like literally. And I remember, if you check the history, I brought it out last time, that Vincent van Gogh cut his ear off behind that. Him and then another so-called artists over in Europe behind messing with that stuff. It caused you to do certain things. So now, yeah. So now, did I say 18?
No.
Oh, okay. So now that same type of vibration is being placed in the earth, where the Most High is putting things in there to cause people to be spiritually bitter, or and I don't want to say bittered, but cause them to be jacked up in their minds, right? So that they can be destroyed, right? You got people, what the scripture says, and it caused people to go mad. That was one of the curses that was in Deuteronomy about us, right? And we would become mad through the things that's going on, the things that we're seeing. But then there's other scriptures that say that the nations is mad, physically mad because of the peril that's going on, and some of them just going to be bugged out of their minds, right? Remember, though, the Bible is supposed to be like what? Water, right? The Bible is supposed to be like water. But for others, the Most High can take this and make it become a curse unto them. Like you read in Isaiah, was it Isaiah 28? Is it 28? Where it says they're going to read and then they're going to fall and be broken and taken and snared because they don't have the right spirit. Salat Khan Nabiyah. I think they left. It was a family that was outside looking at the sign. They did like 3 takes. I don't know. We don't have the sign in no more. Could have gave them a flyer. I think they. Yeah. But Jeremiah 51. That's gonna. I think I'm gonna come back there for something else. Yeah. Yeah. Jeremiah 51:7. And then Yahweh Kanan. Right, it says, Babylon have been the golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed, right? But the thing about it is this stuff that they're taking in, the philosophies, the lies, is causing them to go mad, right? Because with one lie, you got to have another lie, you got to have another lie, you got to have another lie, another policy, another this, another that. And it's causing people to get in turmoil. So the Lord is causing that to be even worse. Caught him? Oh. Because this used to be the barbershop. Right. Yahweh Kanan, you was about to give a verse? Oh, I see you standing. You just standing. So I'm gonna go back to Revelations 18. So like Revelations 8 and Revelations 8 and 10 and 11 again. The link with what we're reading in 16 and 4. All right. So again, it says, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of that star is wormwood, or synonymous with bitter. The third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter, right? So this is not something that you can go and say, yeah, you see people drinking water and they just die. This is spiritual. Right? They're drinking some other type of water. They're drinking another doctrine. They're dealing with another philosophy, and it's causing them to be spiritually dead. Remember, Yahushua says, what is it, John 7:38? He that believeth on me, as the scripture have said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living waters. Right? Waters. Right? So Yahushua told the woman at the well, if you drink of this water, you shall never thirst again, right? Showing you that people go throughout the earth looking for quenching. But that other stuff that they drink causes them to die. We drank it at one point, right? We all drank that water. Now we say we drank the Kool-Aid, but we drank that water. We drank Christmas. We drank Halloween. That was just jacked up. We out there dressing up as death, dressing up as demons and everything else, right? Walking around here following after Satan. Yeah. So a lot of those things translates into what John is seeing as how it relates to the times of what's going on in these last days, going back a few, but also continue to go forward. So now let's go back to Revelation 16. 16:4, then we're going to read on. And the third angel poured out his vial upon the rivers and fountains of water, and they became blood. Right? So that stopped. Like in Genesis, in Exodus, when we did it in Egypt, no one can get anything to drink. But if they did go and drink it, it's like you drinking blood, right? However, this is translating into that same bitter philosophy that people is now being succumbed to and drinking, and they dying spiritually, right? All this is showing John, Yahweh showing John the state of what was going on. Like I said yesterday, I came out the store and a woman had a shirt that says gender is no more. I was like, what? Imagine John back in the day seeing something like that. What the hell are you talking about? Gender is no more. So there's no more male and female? What are you? I'm just a being. What does that mean? So there's no more women and no woman sign, no male sign anymore. It's just, you just whatever. You're a man and a woman if you choose to be. That's what it is. That's what a lot of people starting to believe now or accept. You could be a man today and a woman tomorrow. It's your choice.
We had in my block, we had something like that where he dressed up as a man, and then at night he dressed up as a woman.
Yeah.
Now we living in the block.
All right, so now let's read verse 5. And I heard the angel of the waters say, thou art righteous, O Lord, which art and was and shalt be, because thou hast judged thus. Right? So now this goes back into the righteousness of the Most High and Yahweh Shai, right? Because the Most High is righteous, and it classifies him when you read in the scriptures, because it says here, O Lord, which art and was and shall be, right? Art, present, was, past, shall be, future. Same thing that Nabiyah just quoted, Yahweh Shai, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He's coming in the same breath and power as the Most High. So righteousness is being given to the Most High because he is now making his judgment come into effect. Right? Let's go to the book of Psalms. Take this from Elder Zaquan. Psalms 11. And 7. Say again. 5. So it says, the righteous Lord loveth righteousness. His countenance does behold the upright. Right? So the righteous Lord, which is the Most High Yahweh, he loveth righteousness, judgment, equity, right? So now when it comes to repaying that to someone or for what they've done, the Most High, sometimes some people may feel that he's a little bit late, but he does things in his own time. So now it's come to a point where during the time when Ezra was complaining or asking the Most High how long it's going to be, Ezra was showing what we are going through right now. And now we're in that moment. Now we're in that time. Now you have some of those prophets and prophetesses, those righteous men and women who are here in the reincarnation. Those spirits that's still up in the heavens, they're giving praise and honor to the Most High because now he's judging right. He's now lifting up the skirt and showing Esau for who he is. Drop that, go to Lamentations, since I just mentioned it. Lamentations, right after Jeremiah. Ayandabar. Lamentations, the 4th chapter. Fourth verse. Lamentations 4, not 4th verse. Lamentations 4th chapter, 22nd verse. Now, this goes back, Gabar, when I was mentioning some of the things that was written in the past at the time when we were going through one thing, sometimes had a reflection or was correlating to what was going on then, but then it was just prophetic. It was just dealing with something that was going to come in the future. This is one of those verses because it says here in Lamentations 4:22, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. What does that mean?
We're finished being tormented.
Exactly. It's done. We don't have to go into another captivity and be punished again and again. Now it's done. So now the Lord has said, okay, that's over. But then he says, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So now here at this time, we was coming out of the real Babylonian. We were going through the real Babylonian captivity. But the Most High has Jeremiah specifically mentioned Edom. Edom wasn't in power then. And we were still going through captivities after this one here. So it had nothing to do with what was going on at that time, because coming during this Babylonian captivity, we still went into the Persian and Medes captivity. We still went into the Greek captivity, went into the Roman captivity. So this wasn't talking about then. This was way future for what we're dealing with right now. I will discover thy sins, O daughter of Edom. At this time that Jeremiah said this, Edom hadn't done those things to us yet. Antiochus, Alexander hadn't come into power yet. Antiochus hadn't forced his philosophies on us yet. So the Lord put the Spirit on Jeremiah for him to see in the future, to prophesy about the things in the future that were going on right now. So this right here is righteousness. Now the Most High is judging Edom. Now he's pouring Okay, is it back? Anybody that's on the teleconference line, I think is back. Okay. So again, we just read Lamentations 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. Going to touch a little bit on this later on. Okay.
What's the limitation links with, Shema?
Revelations, the 5th verse. So we're dealing with the Most High now, his judge. It says, because thou hast judged thus. When he says thou hast judged thus, meaning now all the hell that we were catching, now the Lord is starting to now put this vials and pour these vials out amongst those who've had us in calamity. So that's why I read Lamentations 4:22 to show that the Most High is saying our stuff is ended now. It's not to say, it's not talking about we're not going to go through certain things throughout the earth. It's talking about we don't have to fall victim to being punished again for sins that we're doing like right now. Right? That's it. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Next time we see this transition, it'll be Yahweh shall come with the angels that lead us into the kingdom. And then I went to the 21st verse to show how this correlates again right back to what the Lord is doing with Edom. He's giving that cup. I think we're going to read later on. I'm not sure if it's these chapters, but it talks about them being like a golden cup. Can't remember if it's in one of these two chapters, but it tells you that they have been like a golden cup in the Lord's hand. That was of Jeremiah 51, the water. Yes. Job 11:6. So yeah, we're going to drop. We'll finish with Lamentation. Now we're going to go to Job 11:6. So now it says in Job 11:6, and that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is. Know therefore that Yahweh exacteth of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth. Right? So it shows you how the Most High deals with us in this time period, and how now we don't have to go through no more captivity. Remember, we've gone through all of these things because of our sin. We've gone through these perils because of our transgressions. Now the Lord says, okay, I'm forgiving those. Now I'm going to go and expose his sins and bring down his kingdom the same way we fell as a kingdom. Our kingdom fell, our temples and things was destroyed and everything else. Now the Lord says, okay, I'm going to visit them. And now we're happy that the Most High is judging in this way. Yahweh Kanan.
Yeah. It's going to have to get kingdom, like Isaiah 47:1. Isaiah 47:1.
Hold on 1 second. All right.
Isaiah 47:1. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone and grind meal, and cover thy locks, make bare the legs, and cover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Oh, that's this is the last kingdom, and the Most High is gonna bring them down.
Mm-hmm.
Bring them down that they're not gonna be no more be called tender and delicate.
Right.
The Most High gonna bring them down.
Yeah, what can I'm Nabia?
That's right. Now, I was gonna say, for some reason that Kendrick Lamar song makes you think of that verse. When he says, "Sit down, humble, sit down." Sit in the dust. Hold it.
So now let's go back to Revelation 16, verse 6. It says, for they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, for they are worthy. So it says, for they have shed the blood of the saints and the prophets. Who's it talking about? Who's the they? Esau. Now, it's primarily talking about Esau, but the other heathen have done it as well. But this one is primarily dealing with their kingdom. The majority of all of this stuff that you read in Revelations, the pinpoint or the focus of this is Edom. All of that's why it goes into the beast, the dragon, the seven is dealing with Edom. We don't forget what the other nations did, but it's primarily always dealing with Edom. Now, let's go to Ezekiel. Yeah, can you be one of those guys? If you was in the office, you'd have those standing desks. Yeah. Ezekiel 35 and 1. So Ezekiel 35 and 1, it says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. So now when it says Mount Seir, who is it talking about? Esau. How do you know? Because he's in Mount Seir, right? Got a verse?
No.
All right, Kahan. I say again?
Genesis 36.
Genesis 36 and 8. Yes. Read that. What does it say real quick?
Thus dwell Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom.
So it correlates all of it. Mount Seir, Esau, Edom. Right? So now when it says prophesy to Mount Seir, you know what it's talking about. Edom, Esau, all of them. Right. 36 and 8 in Genesis 36 and 8.
I was looking at the map today with 12 tribes. I saw Esau and Ammon on the outskirts.
So it reads on, it says, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith Yahweh, power. Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. I will lay thy cities waste, and thou shalt be desolate, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, right? So now, we came here, because in verse 6 it says, for they have shed the blood of the saints and prophets, and thou hast given them blood to drink, right? When they're talking about giving them blood to, do they physically give us blood to drink? No. So what is it dealing with? What did they give us to drink? Hell. They gave us hard times. They gave us destruction. That's what we drink. That's why when we read before, the Most High said he poured out those vials and it was like blood in the waters, blood over here, blood. Now they're going to go through the same thing, right? That's why they said happy, because thou hast judged thus, right? Same thing you sow is what you're going to reap, right? Zakar.
In Genesis 36, verse 41, 42, and 43, why the word Duke is in the beginning of the Bible?
Because we talk about Esau.
Right, they were the first dukes. Like the Dukes of Hazzard.
That's how I associate them with Esau too. But that's why they call themselves over there with Dukes.
Yeah. That's their esteemed titles. Yeah, that's their esteemed title that they had.
Let me ask you this too. So if this word Duke, right, this must be Esau, right?
But that's what he just read.
Okay.
That's what he just read in the 8th verse.
Would that be white people?
You tell me.
Okay.
Who is Esau?
Esau, white people.
Okay. Because if not, then Lord, in the Tuesday class, in the next week's Most High's will, Kahan Nabias in case, Tuesday's class, you show up, we'll have you break down Genesis 25. to go through it so that it's clear on who that is. So there's no question about it anymore, right? So that, because once you have that clear in your mind and you bring it out, then it'll answer those questions there, or some of them.
My left, they were talking to the pastor next door about when was remember they went across the Red Sea. Let me ask you while I'm here. Was there any white folks coming across the Red Sea with Moses?
No. With Israel? No.
No. What was okay? Not to go to another conversation. What was they at? They scattered around.
Who?
Esau.
Yeah, we'll table that. We'll table that discussion.
Okay.
All right, because I don't want to lose.
All right. Now you lose.
Yeah, we'll table that because that'll go into scriptures about regions and whatever. So we just read like they dwelt in Mount Seir, right? That's where they lived at. So they're dwelling at that time. And then they started to go different places. And so, but I don't want to lose train of thought because I've just lost my train of thought. No. Revelations, where was I? 16 and 6. For they have shed, right. For they have shed the blood of the saints and prophets. The they is the dragon. The they is Mount Seir. The they is Edom, right? So now, back in Ezekiel 35:5, it says, because thou hast had a okay, we're back.
What was before Psalms 148 and 14?
It was Psalms 50:5. So Psalms 50:5 was the previous verse. Now we're reading Psalms 148:14. Gabar is about to read that.
148, forget it.
Fun.
All right.
Fun.
All right. 148 and 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel.
Even of the children of Israel. His horn, his saints are the children of Israel. Read.
A people near unto him. Praise ye the Lord.
Praise ye the Lord. So now that's saints. Now I'm gonna give you one for prophets. Because they shed the blood of the saints and the prophets. Go to Ezekiel 38, 17. Ezekiel 38 and 17. Zakar, if you could read that one. Then we'll go back to 35. Ezekiel 38, 17.
Thus saith the Lord God, art thou he of whom I have spoken in old times by my servants, the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I will bring thee against them?
Right. So now when you speak about the servants or the prophets of the Most High, what did they come out of? Israel. Right? So when you talk about Prophet Muhammad, in the Bible, it says that the prophets got to come out of Israel. These are the servants and prophets of the Most High. Not nobody else. Say again, Nabia. Right. Right? You can't talk about he was a prophet and it lines with the Bible when the prophets were always only from Israel. Go on.
Real quick, it should be mentioned. It's a shame to talk about it, but Surah 29, 27, Quran itself, I haven't gotten the answer yet of any Islam person into any denomination. But it said Surah 29, 27. Surah. That's the title in the Quran chapter. The Quran itself says that the prophethood should rest with Ishaq and Yaqub, which is the Arabic for Isaac and Jacob. It says his seed forever. So even their own Quran tells you.
You're going to start fighting. I know you got the book. That's cool. So the prophets can only come from out of Israel.
According to the Quran,
even to the Quran. Hey, what's the name of that chapter?
Surah 29, 27.
Spell Surah.
S-U-R-A-D. It's called the Spider. S-U-R-A-D.
That's the Quran book, right?
What's the chapter?
It's called the Spider. That's what 29. Spider.
I got the word Surah. What's the
29, 27.
29.
Each surah has a name.
I'm going to tell my cousin now. Oh, you're Muslim. I get listen, in high school, let's go back to high school in the 80s. My grandmother named Pearl Rock said, when y'all get older, don't be picking with, I don't pick with a grandma, this is already in the Bible. And what you just said right there, you're trying to swing on me.
So,
his name's Salim, that's my cousin. My father's brother.
Where he live at?
Huh?
Where he live?
All over. He there.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I know a brother named Salim.
He about my age, so about 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to tell him that. Okay.
I get 27 for a couple of.
So that was Ezekiel 38, 17. So now let's go back to 35 and 5 again. 35 and 5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, right? Perpetual is like what? Forever. It's like you always didn't like me. You never liked me. Genesis 25 says you didn't like him from the womb, right? It's been a perpetual hatred. It even started before the womb, right? Started as the Most High was creating the spirits of our forefathers in the heaven, and that would be what the vibration would be in the earth, right? So it says, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in our distress, when we're weak. What happens to us? we've been killed by the sword. Last hire, first fire. We the ones that's filling the jails and the penitentiaries, and we still being slaughtered and murdered and beat down and trodden, right? And it says, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Where?
In the time with their iniquity.
I was just about to go to that, right? I was just about to go to it. Now remember, we just read in Lamentations where it says, thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion, right? So this is supposed to be a time where we're supposed to be coming to the end of our punishment. But you think they let up? Hell no. Because of the perpetual hatred, they still going. It's like somebody, it's like a parent, like, it's not even a parent. I don't want to make this, but you know, sometimes you beat somebody and it's like, oh, that's enough, right? And you stop, but you still fired up. You're like, nah, he grab when you keep hitting them. That's what Esau is doing. Esau, they're like, listen, he's done. It's enough. And they walking around, they come back and they still getting licks in. It's supposed to have come to an end. But their hatred for us, no one else but us, right? And it says in a certain scripture that says that you've done this to those who are innocent, who haven't done anything to you. We didn't do nothing to them to receive this type of hatred from them toward us. Now I could see if we went and destroyed and bombed and did all these things to them, maybe somebody can say, okay, see, that's what it is. But that didn't happen. What is it that they've done these things to us in this capacity that they've done it? On a normal scale, there's no answer for it. But from the scriptures, we understand it would happen to us because of sin. The Lord put them there, but they've overstepped the bound. They'll let their emotions carry on. So the Lord says, because of that perpetual hatred, thou hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Hold your point, Yahweh. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it him that passeth out, and him that returneth. Now, when you read on, that goes into other scriptures where it talks about it's going to burn, the smoke is going to ascend, there's going to be a perpetual smoke that's going to go up from the Most High, bringing down that kingdom, right? Because of how they dealt with us. Not so much how they dealt with Ammon, or what they did with Ishmael, or what they did with Japheth, or what they did with Ham. We read this night, it's like a drop in the bucket. Heck with them. Most High said, well, what you did to my saints, my prophets, my people, then now I'm going to do this to you. Yahweh Kanan. So now we'll come back to Ezekiel, the 35th chapter. We'll come back to Jeremiah, the 51st chapter, as we go on. I read to verse 7. Right, you can keep reading because it just goes into it, but I wanted to stop there because I'm gonna jump down a bit. We have chapter 16, verse 7. Man, I gotta kind of speed it up. It's almost 12:30. Well, we still gotta go through 17. 17 got some good stuff in there. Yeah. He said, good boy. I said, don't worry about it. We got all day. It's supposed to rain today. We ain't got her. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it is good though.
So reading on, it's back in Revelation 16 now. Revelation 16 and 7, it says, and I heard another out of the altar say, even so, Yahweh power almighty, true and righteous are thy judgments, right? So he heard it from one person, one angel who signified that now the judgments of the Most High that's coming down is righteous. And now he's also signifying that another spirit came out and said the same thing pertaining to what the Most High is having go down with Esau's kingdom, right? So now verse 8, it says, and the fourth angel poured out his vial upon the sun, and power was given unto him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat and blasphemed the name of God, which hath power over these plagues. And they repented not to give him glory, right? So now the Most High is even having this angel go and pour out his vial in the sun. So we already know that Esau, you know, he can't just deal with the sun the same way we can deal with it. Not alone the other nations, right? Because all of the other nations were blessed to have some form of melanin in their skin. Esau doesn't have that, right? But now also when you link this up with chapter 8, Revelations 8 and 12, this is for verse 8 and 9. It says, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten. Now, we know that this is not talking literal, right? This ain't talking about the Most High went and like smashed the sun so that it was taken out, right? It's not dealing with that. It's dealing with something on a more higher level, a more spiritual level, right? The sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars. So as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise, right? This is 8 and 12, right? So again, linking this up with what we're reading in 16, this is supposed to be something to do what? To scorch or destroy or to harm those men, right? So their knowledge and their information and everything that they have, the Most High is now going to start to use that against them, right? Use that against them to start to destroy them, to burn them, to feel the heat, feel the fire, right? Of all the things that they've put out, now it's about to start coming back. You try to do this thing economically, the Most High is going to jack up your economic. You try to do this thing religiously, the Most High is going to jack up your religion. That's why you got all these high-level ranking priests that's being exposed now, right? They're being exposed of being pedophiles, homosexuals, and everything else, right? So the sun and the moon is supposed to, we read back as in Revelations 12, the sun and the moon is supposed to represent our wisdom and understanding, right? It's supposed to represent our knowledge and spirit that we have with the Most High when it describes the woman who was arrayed with 12 stars in the sun and the moon. We read this a while ago and how that related to when Joseph had the dream about his mother and his father and his 11 brothers. And that correlated to what John the Revelator was seeing with Israel. But the sun and the moon represented our knowledge and wisdom in the truth. Well, their knowledge and wisdom and information is now starting to crumble. And it's now starting to become a thorn against them. That's why the Lord, when we read about it becoming like bitter, all of this is now starting to fall from the inside, right? When we start watching the turmoil happen on the news, when we start seeing things start to crumble, the knowledge here, you know, I used to always hate Esau when he come out and he say, you know, don't eat tomatoes. Yeah. Tomatoes is not good for you. Eat tomatoes. Tomatoes is good for you. Don't eat this. You're like, what? Don't eat the strawberries. The strawberries bad? No, the strawberries is good. You're like, hold on, what the hell is going on here? Their knowledge is bugged out. Wisdom is crazy. How you teaching one thing and contradicting it again, right? You saying one thing and then coming with another, right? But then you have us out there, like you said, bringing down or exposing all of their lies, bringing down and exposing all of their so-called truths, which are falsehoods, to show them that they are now not that great people that they set themselves up to be, right? They put themselves as being the best thing, best place on earth, but it's a mirage. It's being held up by falsehood. And as we're going to read later, it says all of the nations that done what? They drank that wine. They drank that Kool-Aid. But then later on, they going to be mad. they're gonna be upset because they're gonna come to the realization that all this was just lies. So all this is now starting to come down and crumble. The Most High is starting to put that heat upon them, right? Physical heat, yeah, you know, they can't stand out in the sun and all of that, but this is now the Lord showing John the Revelator a vision of them crumbling, their empire crumbling on all different levels. So again, it said in Revelation 16 and 9, and men were scorched with great heat and blasphemed the name of power, right? So they're having this, but they're still doing what? They're going through this trouble, they're going through this turmoil, but at the same time, they still blaspheming the name of the Most High. They still blaspheming his people. They still blaspheming the truth, right? Go back to Ezekiel 35. Go back to Ezekiel 35. I'm going to start at 11 and read down to 15. So this is Ezekiel 35, 11 to 15. It says, therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will even do according to thine anger, right? Not his anger. He's now saying the same thing, the way that you went and dealt with Israel and how you showed them no mercy. I'm going to deal with you according to the same thing. That perpetual hatred that you have for them, I'm going to have a perpetual hatred for you, right? It says, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them. The them is Israel, right? And I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. So the Most High is going to show that he is our power, right? And he's going to do the same thing that he had Moses and Israel do when we came out of Egypt. We was under the hand of the Egyptians. He's going to make himself known amongst us through the plagues that he's going to impose upon our enemies. So it says in verse 12, and thou shalt know that I am Yahweh, and that I have heard all thy blasphemies, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, which is talking about who? The government of Israel, the 1/3, the 144, the mountains of Israel. There's a lot of lies that's been spoken about us, that we're not the chosen.
Your input is invalid.
We're not the elite. We're not the remnant. They are. They're in the land. They hold the seat, right? So these things are blasphemies. They're the ones who are waiting for the Messiah. Really? Right? So the Lord says, which thou hast spoken against the mountains of Israel, saying they are laid desolate, they are given us to consume. Right? I was watching the a video in a camp video, and the sister was asking one of the brothers at the camp, and he said, why does it appear that they have received all the blessings? We're saying that they're not the people, but it appears that they've received all the blessings, because in their mind, we have been given to them for them to consume us, to control us, to own us, right? That is what it is perceived. But these are all lies and blasphemy that's pushed out. That's why the Lord says he's putting down his heat upon them, but they still gonna blaspheme the Most High until it's ended, right? It says, thus, verse 13, with your mouth you have boasted against me and have multiplied your words against me. I have heard them, right? The Most High ain't just sitting back and he ain't paying attention. He hearing all the lies that's going on. So because of it, it says, thus saith Yahweh power, when the whole earth rejoiceth, I will make thee desolate, right? So when now things are being put back into its rightful state, they're not going to have an inheritance. They're not going to have a place to go to anymore. It's going to be taken out. The Most High is going to make them desolate. Like we didn't have a homeland to go to. It's desolate to us. It's going to be that way for Mount Seir, for Edom, for Esau, right? Verse 15, it says, as thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, when they conquered us and put us in captivity, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am the Lord. Right? So it even gives you the other name, Idumea, or the Idumeans. It's all dealing with Esau. So the Most High here in Ezekiel's prophecy is foreseeing the same thing that the other prophets are seeing pertaining to what the judgment the Most High is bringing upon them. And as these things is happening, these vials, these calamities, these curses that's being poured out on Esau, what we're reading is that they still going to be blaspheming the Most High. They still going to be blaspheming against Israel, physically and spiritually, right? Taking us out, saying, yeah, look at they're worthless. They don't have no rights. They're less than a man. These not the chosen of the Most High, but it's based on how they treat us. We're looked at as less than nothing. We're looked at as criminals. We're looked at as evil, as wicked. That's how we're perceived. Zakar, you had your hand up?
You Obadiah verse 12.
Obadiah 12, read that.
But thou shalt not have, well, I'm with you. Well, there's one chapter. I've been sitting next to the guy and he outdoing me. So he's running up and down back and forth. All right, never heard of him. Okay, well, hey, that's Obadiah 12. But I don't know what before I said. Obadiah 12. But thou shalt not have looked on the day of thy brother, in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shalt thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shalt thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress.
Mm-hmm.
That was enough. You know, I got the precept off to the face right here.
Yeah, I was about to say, you could, I mean, that whole chapter pertains, so you could have read even further down. But
thou shalt not have entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. Thou shalt not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity. Nor have laid hand on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither should I have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape, neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done. It shall be done unto thee. Their reward shall return upon their own head. For as ye have drunken upon the holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as thou they have not been.
Right, so that's the Most High showing that's going to be a global war. The other nations, the heathen, are now going to also go and drink. Right, read on.
Verse 17. For upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possession.
Right, so it's the same thing. Isaiah 14, 1 and 2. The house of Jacob shall possess their possessions, talking about their oppressors, right? Those who once had them in captivity. But here is letting you know that the deliverance is only going to be for Zion, and the Most High is going to punish Edom. Not only even just by us, but the other nations are also going to be punishing them. The heathen is also going to be a part of this. We're going to read a little bit of that in the second half.
That's what drink continually means.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame.
No, that's it. That's it. Right. Right. So, yeah.
On the whole drinking, think of it like take your medicine.
Right.
Right? Like, that's the
person that they don't want.
Right.
He gave me this, now you need that.
Right. You got one, Con?
Yeah. That's what we read Malachi chapter 1, verse 4.
Malachi 1 and 4. Malachi chapter 1, verse 4.
Yeah, Malachi 1 and 4. It said, wherefore Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus says the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord had indignation forever.
Right. So why you read that? Why'd you read it?
You know, it's talking about, you know, the judgment for Edom.
Mm-hmm.
For the most the most I say they're gonna drink blood.
Mm-hmm.
The most they're gonna punish them for what they've done to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Most I has indignation against
Indignation. Indignation.
Whatever.
Indignation. Indignation. Pourquoi Dingabar? Oh.
Right? I mean, like when you look at it, we just gotta look at it that we are privileged to be the children of Israel. Because even though Esau had done it, now who would have been in his place? You know, if it wasn't him, somebody had to do it. We had to get punished for what we have done. So that's why sometimes when you look at things like the Most High created everything, but it's like you know how to. It's good to know how the system works, but sometimes it's like, man, you know, either way, Esau would have been in that position, or somebody else would have been in that position. It's just that, you know, we're glad that we are in the other side, on the right hand side, as opposed to be on the left hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But it's not because that's something that we do from the beginning. It's just like the Most High set everything up the way He set it up.
Mm-hmm.
I have a scripture on that in Revelation 4:11.
Revelations 4:11.
While, you know, the punishments hurts, and we look at Esau, we hate Esau, right? And rightly so, but the Most High set it up that way. That's why sometimes, you know, take it too personal. You speak the truth, but you don't take it too personal. Mm-hmm. If anything, you take it on to the Most High when He's doing that. Right. With that, when we teach, you know, we get a sense of, you know, like, see from the Most High's perspective, where we teach, we can teach anybody, except we just tell them how it is. Mm-hmm. And not get too, you know, too caught up in the personal things and, you know, take it personal. Okay. Right. Revelation 4:11.
If you're passionate, make sure your passion is aligned with the Most High.
Right. I just feel. Revelation 4:11 reads, "Thou art worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power, for thou hast created all things, and for thy pleasure they are and were created."
That was 11.
Psalm 83. All of it there. Now, on my question goes back to Malachi, where he said, Esau said, you know, the Lord said, I will tear down. And Esau said, I will build up. And the Lord will tear it down again. Can we relate that to the tornadoes that keep hitting these towns that they're in. And then they just build back over after he destroyed the town with tornado or something. And that's what they see.
No, because they were living in the Caucasus Mountains. As I remember, they were living in the Caucasus Mountains because we brought them down and they were living out there like animals. So they want to build up what they had back in Rome and Greek and build all of that back up, you know?
Right.
That say, you know, they're going to come back and build up all these things and build up all hearings and, you know, around the world, especially the United States, so break them down.
Oh, okay, so that's cool.
Gun. Yeah, he was dealing with it on a lower level as far as for the things that's going on.
Football game. They tore the area down and we built it up. King at the time, everybody had to leave.
New Orleans Saints play that?
New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans, yeah.
Yeah, they tore that place down. They said, those people thought they were joking. You got to get out of here now. Come out. Oh, man. They didn't believe it until the big man jumped up there and said, I'm getting my ass out of here too. In New Orleans. One who's in charge.
Oh, okay.
So was paying great with the ring ticket as a brother. That's what Esau said. The black man was the mayor of New Orleans. Yeah, with the black man. He was in charge. He spoke up. I'm getting my ass out of here now. He said,
those are the exact words?
He didn't say it like that.
Okay.
But he said, all alert.
That's what he said.
He said, all alert, all alert, all alert. The people thought he was joking. I said, listen to it. I was going to be joking too. Until he said, oh, this is the last time. The warning is coming down. And people had going off kind of it. They had no choice to get out of it. They had no choice.
All right, so let's get back. Almost 1 o'clock. We're at verse 10 now. At verse 10, Revelation 16 and 10. And the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness. And they gnawed their tongues for pain and blasphemed the power of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. Some of this we just read in Ezekiel 35 as far as for their blasphemies and the things that they've done, but still continue to blaspheme the Most High and miss what was going on. But now let's correlate this fifth angel's vow back to what we read in chapter 9. Right, because it says, and the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain and blasphemed the power of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. So in Revelation 9 and 1, it says, and the fifth angel sounded and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Right? So we went through this before, as far as for the key to the bottomless pit. We talked about how when they fell, when Esau's kingdom fell, as Rome fell, it fell for a period of 1,000 years, started in 193 AD, finished around the 400s AD, and then they came back into power in 1450 something AD, right? They were in darkness for that period. They had no rulership. They were done. The Most High had the spirit where they had to go and fall as a kingdom. That was during the period of the dark ages, right? So he said he poured the vial on the seat of the beast. So they didn't have no seat no more, and then they fell. And then when you read the next verse, and he opened the bottomless pit. So this was their resurgence coming back out of the bottomless pit in those 1400s, right? And then that's what we read later on, as far as for the describing of the world wars. We read about World War I, and as far the planes with the fighter in the back, and they had the paintings on the ships and things. over time, Esau's kingdom grew, starting from Rome coming back in the Renaissance period, but their kingdom grew. But this is after the fact. We're dealing with when the Most High had their seat taken down, and it was no more. It was in darkness. You couldn't see them no more. It's like you're looking at them, but then all of a sudden, where they at? It's dormant, right? The 1,000 years, and then they came out of it, right? So they were going through all their woes, being in the dark ages, going into how they was now pushed out. And then, like you just try to allude to, Malachi, they came back to rebuild. And they said, what is it, Revelations, I forget, which said they wondered at the beast when it came back, because it came back with a vengeance. That was Revelations 13, yes. Right, 13:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. That's Rome when they fell, right?
Always seems to always something happens on the Sabbath day with us. Always.
Son, yo. And that junk always stays on, but the truth come out, they try to sabotage it.
Yeah. All right, we should be back on. All right, Nabiyah, you was making your making a point.
Yeah, I was saying with the Esau, they're called the daughter of Babylon for a reason, because they take on that same spirit of old Hamite empires, Egypt along with Babylon, and Sodom and Gomorrah too. Because the scriptures say, like you read in Revelation a couple weeks back, spiritual Sodom and Egypt, and they're both Hamite empire. And Babylon's a Hamite empire too. So that's why you see them obsessed with the Black Madonna stuff. That's going back to Egypt. That's ISIS and Osset, they call them Osset, the Kemetic people. But it's still dealing with idols of the Hamites.
Right. That's what it's into.
All right, so let's go back. Revelation 16, we're at verse 12.
Okay, 12.
12.
All right.
It says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Right? So over in that region, this is going to link up with what is going to be the real culmination of that war in the Middle East. As we read further on, it's going to mention it in verse 16. But is bringing you right back over into that region where the real thrust of everything is starting, which is right there in Megiddo, Jezreel, the Valley of Jehoshaphat. All that is right there in that region where the real thrust of the war is going to come to. That's where the Most High is gathering everyone to really get into a big war. Right, is going to be right in that region. So the Most High says that this angel now is going to pour out his vial over the river Euphrates to gain access for all of them to now be able to come together to fight. So this sixth angel is about to go through what we're going to almost see as far as for the war that's going to happen. Everything else are the plagues that's leading up to it, but this is like the war. This is like that climax of what we read in Isaiah 13:4. The Most High mustered the host of the battle by bringing all nations and peoples together. This is what the Lord is doing for that time, right? It says, I'm not going to go to it. You could just write it down. Second Esdras, the 15th chapter, verses 20. Second Esdras in the Apocrypha, chapter 15, verse 20. All the way down to stop at 37. Right? So it describes different kings coming from different regions and different peoples coming to fight, whether it be the Ishmaelites, the Iranians, so forth and so on. All of them are coming to fight in that region. 37. Come. What did I say? 16, 15. So it says, reading on in verse 13, trying to minimize going to these different scriptures, kind of save some time. There's already one. It says in verse 13, and I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. It says, for they are the spirits of devils working miracles which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of power almighty. Right? So like we read before, the Most High is the one that mustereth the host of the battle. So he's causing the contention amongst different people. But now what's causing this is Edom, right? through his policies, through his doctrine and things that's going on, this is what's causing the calamities amongst the people through his unclean spirits that he's putting out there, right? So we touched on some of them before. Their religion, right? Their Christianity, Catholicism, whatever they push out there, they send out their priests. You know how when they go and they try to salvage a country, try to build it up, you just don't come and bring in day laborers or workers that do construction. You got to have something else that comes and follows it. They bring the religion in there, right? You need infrastructure, right? You need someone to teach you God like how we know God, so that you can sustain yourself like us. So they bring that spirit of falsehood and religion in. Quad. No, go ahead before I move on to the next one. Right.
Our religion that they move in with is them.
Exactly.
Their
exactly.
Their image.
Yeah.
Right? Because they have to establish that sense of pride that they people got to believe in them first. Before they start to implement all the other things that they're gonna come in and bring in. First they gotta make sure that they put themselves on the throne of the Most High, being seen as the Most High.
Zakar.
The next chapter of Revelation 17:14.
Yeah.
These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are within him are called the chosen and faithful. Verse 14 is read.
Say again. You in 17. We in 16.
Y'all read a precept. That's all.
What is that precept going with?
It's going to let you know that we people.
But what is that linking with?
God.
What verse? What precept that we're reading in chapter 16 is that linking with?
They go with 13 and 14.
No, it does not go 13 and 14.
Well, you got it right here. The precept in the Bible.
Oh, the second. You know what? The second precept, I can see where they're getting this idea from, because the second precept, or the last precept in verse 14 says, to gather them to the battle of that great day of the Lord Almighty. And it talks about them making war with the Lamb, which is Christ, right? So that war is dealing with portions of that.
I figured that
yeah. All right. That's what it's dealing with. But what we're talking about, we're still on 13, dealing with the spirits that's coming out. You're still dealing with the spirits. So you got religion. What's the other one that they used? The economics, right? Finances and how they control the global market. What's the other one? There's another big one. Politics, right? That's where they go and they try to do things in the form of democracy, right? You always hear that. They're trying to bring democracy. Down in Venezuela, it says they've taken away their democracy. So we have to go down there and fix that, right? I think we're back. All right, Khan.
No, we're out.
No.
We're not. Do a refresh, because I see that I'm live.
We're back.
Okay.
Yeah, what you said is on point, because what you asked is on point. Because remember the Millennium 2000 documentary with
builder back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
They had a guy on there. It was a guest, not the Maxwell.
Mm-hmm.
He was on there too. But then they had another guy who was kind of talked more plainly.
Mm-hmm.
His name was like Cook.
Mm-hmm.
But what he said was interesting. He's like, you have to break the New World Order down into 3 parts. He said, first you had what they call a new political world order. He said, then on top of that, they'll bring in the new economic world order. And then he said the new religious world order. After that, so he broke down the New World Order into 3 pieces. And we see it right now in this government. This other documentary even goes into it too, called the Secret Rules of the World. They talk about the 3 city-states, the city within the city. You see how each of those things represents these same concepts we just read. The dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. DC, you could say is like the political aspect, right? Where it's the city within the city. Then you have London, right? But the inner city of London is called the Crown. It controls the world market. Even the New York Stock Exchange is subject to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a city within a city too that has like its own rules, its own laws, its own constitution, etc. And the third one, of course, is the Vatican. So they're called the 3 city-states. And it's ironic that in each of those 3 city-states, you have an obelisk. You got the Washington Monument in D.C., you got the Cleopatra's Needle in London, and then over there in Vatican, you got St. Peter's Basilica, you got the obelisk there too.
What's that obelisk there with a needle?
Cleopatra's Needle. That's in London.
And that's a building of a woman, a statue of a woman?
No, it's an obelisk. It's just it represents, it's the Egyptian symbol of a erect wolf piece.
In London?
Yeah.
They got that from Africa and brought it over to London.
Right.
That's something.
So they have one of those symbols in each place, which tells you also, the scriptures also say that there's spiritual Egypt. That's why we look on the back of the dollar when you see a pyramid.
Yeah.
You go to Washington and you see an Egyptian obelisk. That's supposed to represent Washington. So you go into what they really believe, what their belief system is. It goes back to what we were saying before, Hamite idolatry. One more thing. If you look at our righteous government, you can see it's almost a counterfeit for our righteous government because we had those 3 branches too, more or less. We had you always had 3 chief positions. Anytime Israel was in their glory, you had the captain of the host, you had the king, and you had the high priest. Right? The captain of the host, that's kind of like the DC. What they try to do with DC. You have London, which is the money, that was the king. And then you have the Vatican, the false pope, right? That's where our high priest comes in. So a lot of things on wickedness, you'll see when you go up high enough, they just pretty much counterfeit to what we already had in record.
Got it. So you can write down a couple scriptures. One we had already. You can write down that Revelations 13, 17. Just write these down. Revelations 13, 17. Daniel's 8 and 25. And give me 1 second here. Daniel's 8:25.
Revelation 13:7. Would you say after Daniel 8:25?
I want to go to Colossians. No, not Colossians. Right. Colossians 2 and 8. Daniel 8:25. So these verses just speak about those 3 different things that we're talking about. So in Daniel's 8:25, it says, and through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, And by peace shall he destroy many. That's dealing with politics, right? That's his policies that he puts out there, right? It says, and he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Self-explanatory, right? We mentioned Revelations 13 and 17 already, but I'm just going to reiterate it. It says, and that no man might buy or sell. That's trading. That's your economics. You cannot make money exchanges without them, right? The dollar is the standard, right? Even though you have the euro, who's according to the rate, it may be higher, or the pound may be higher, or whatever, but everything is measured by the dollar, right? They're the ones who set the tone for how the market goes, right? Then I mentioned, what did I mention? Colossians 2 and 8.
Yeah.
Colossians 2 and 8 says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. What is it talking about when it says through philosophy and vain deceit? Spoil you from this truth.
His word.
Their words, right? As it pertains to truth. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Yahweh Shai. So when someone comes teaching another doctrine, whether it be Islam, Catholicism, baptism, Jehovah, whatever, you got to make sure that you don't open yourself up to be accepting of it, because it can destroy you, right? So these are the things that this kingdom pushes out there. These are these spirits that are being pushed, right? That they want you to conform to. And these are the same three things that are going to also begin to wage the war. And that's how wars is waged. Money, politics, religion. Quad.
And also you see one of the major things between men is the sense of pride. Like Kim Jong-un, you look at the guy from Russia, Vladimir Putin, you look in what's his name? Trump. You see those guys, a bunch of guys with pride. So it's a war of pride going on. They say I got better than you. They said I'm better than you. I got more looks than you. So it's about pride going on. And once pride coming in, no one's gonna let for another, and it's gonna, escalate.
Right.
America is the one that's geared to it, want to be most respected, want to be respected.
Right.
Pride. That's why the Most High said, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee. So not only they have pride among their governments, they have pride as elevate even towards the Most High by establishing themselves with their doctrine, and have people want to think of them as they the main one.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back. Revelation 16:14 again. It says, for they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of power almighty. Right? Now, because of this, Yahweh Shah steps in and says, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. What is that talking about? When it says, blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. What is that talking about? You got precepts? Do you understand what it's talking about before you go to the precepts? The precepts is there to confirm what your understanding is. You can use that as to prove that this is what this is talking about, right? Do you have an idea when it's talking about blessed? First he says, behold, I come as a thief. What are you saying? Huh? No.
Unexpectedly.
Unexpected. A thief comes in the dark, in the night, when you least expect it. So Yahweh Shah is saying, I'm coming when you least expect me to come. You may not be looking for me to come right then and there at that moment in time, or at this hour, or that day. That's how I'm going to come. So you can't prepare. I'm not telling you I'm coming at 3 o'clock. I'm coming. What time he coming? I ain't gonna let you know. So you're gonna have everything ready and prepared for him to appear at any time, right? So now, and with that, it says, blessed is he that watcheth. What are you watching?
For the sign.
Say it again. You're watching for the thief?
When you come, I'm ready.
The scripture, the season.
Con, I got that. So I'm trying to see if pull it out of the brother's car. So you're watching for what? What did you just say? That last thing you just said?
The thief, I'm watching out for the thief.
You're watching out for the thief.
Like the devil.
Like the devil. Hold this. Go to Thessalonians first. First Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, 1st verse.
First Thessalonians 5:1. But of the time and the season, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you.
So this is Paul writing to the brothers that's there. He said, of the times and seasons, you don't have any need for me to write unto you about that. Why? Because they have been paying attention to all the information that was being given to them. They're constantly watching out. So Paul is saying, I don't need to tell you. I don't need to call you and tell you, you got to check this out. You got to check this out, because I know that y'all already on point. Why are they on point that way? Why are they all on point? They don't have to be told to watch out. Read again.
But of the time and the season, brother, ye have no need that I write unto you.
Keep going.
For yourself knows perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
That the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Y'all notice. Y'all know when the Most High and the angels and everyone is coming back, it's going to come like a thief in the night, unexpected, right? Read on.
Verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destructions come upon them as
travail
upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Right. So we just read in Daniel's 8:25 about their policies. Through their policies, that's how they got their empire. And then they go out and push peace. That's what Daniel said, how the Greeks rolled, how Rome rolled, how America rolled. They went and pushed peace. But when they say that, guess what's coming? Sudden destruction, travail. Y'all know this already, right? So if you know a thief is coming, right? If you knew someone was coming to rob your house, what would you do? You would stay awake. You ain't saying, well, the thief coming to rob in the night, I'm going to sleep. I'm going to knock out so that when he come, you be knocked out sleep and he coming in and robbing. No, what you going to do? You're going to stay awake and wait for him to catch him when he come in, right? So Yahweh Shai, the Most High, saying, listen, the day of the Lord is like a thief. So I got to be awake. I got to pay attention to what? The times and the seasons, the prophecies, the things that's happening in the earth. Because the Most High said, before I come, these things is going to happen. That's how you know how it's going to be sooner rather than later when the Most High comes. Right? Oh, look what happened with North Korea. Oh, look what happened with Russia. Oh, look what happened with Germany. Because the Most High is prophesying about it. So you know he's getting closer and closer. You know that hour is coming.
And when you see these things happening, you see this man come out and say this, say that. It's the Most High that's moving like focus.
Right. Read the 4th verse.
These brothers are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief.
So you are not without the knowledge that that day should come and overtake you. You got a lot of people out there that don't know about this truth. So when that day comes, that's going to catch them off guard. That should not be the case for us that's in this truth. We know he's coming and we know what he's expecting when he comes, right? That's what we're about to get back into when we read Revelation 16. So that day is coming as a thief. We know he's coming. It should not catch us off guard. How so? Now let's go back to Revelation 16. This is how it should not catch us off guard. So in Revelation 16:15, behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth, that's paying attention, and keepeth his garments. When they talk about keeping his garments, what is it talking about? For quiet. Keep the word. Synonymous with what? Yahukanan. When we keep your garment, what is supposed to be a reflection of? Numbers 15th chapter. Numbers 15:38. Numbers 15:38. Yeah, Yahukanan is going to get down. That's the one.
Okay, go.
Speak.
Numbers 15:38. Speak unto the children of Israel and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments of their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which ye used to go a whoring.
Keep reading.
That ye may remember and do all my commandments and be holy unto your God.
Right. So now, the garments, the fringes, was supposed to be synonymous with what? The law.
Okay.
When you look upon the fringe, it says, when you look upon the fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord. The fringe is supposed to remind you of the commandments of the Lord, right? So then he tells you, or he tells us, that you may remember and do all my commandments, right? That's what we're supposed to do. So now the commandments are supposed to be holy. It's supposed to be righteous, right? Drop that. Y'all can go to Job. Job 29:14. I didn't even write. Job 29:14.
Job 29:14. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me.
It did what?
Clothed me.
How do you put on righteousness for it to clothe you? It's not talking physical, it's what? Spiritual. Relates back to the laws, commandments of the Most High. When you do the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, you're putting on righteousness. When you put on the fruits of the Spirit, you're putting on righteousness. When you include that with the grace and mercy of the Most High, you're putting on righteousness. Read. My judgment.
My judgment was as a robe and a diadem.
Right. So the commandments, the statutes, the judgments of the Most High is like clothes. Right. That's what he's saying. That's like the clothes. So now back again in Revelation 16:15, when he says, and keep thy garments, right? And keepeth his garments, it's talking about what? When it's talking about keeping your garments, what is it synonymous with? What is it talking about? Righteousness. It's talking about righteousness, and keepeth his righteousness, right? Because then the next word says, lest he walk naked. Is it talking about physically walking naked? No, it's talking spiritually walking naked. How do you spiritually walk naked? By not obeying the Most High's commandments, right? By not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Through sinning, that's how you become naked, right? Hold that. Go to Exodus 32. Exodus 32. (23). Exodus 32:23, almost done. So in Exodus 32:23, it says, for they said unto me, this is Aaron speaking, make us gods coming out of Egypt. The people, when we came out over through the Red Sea, we got on the other side. The people came to Aaron and said, make us gods which shall go before us. Now, if you make a god, is that following the Most High? No. Now you fallen into sin. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we wot not what has become of him. The guy who was our leader, he left. We don't know where he at. So this is the time for us to go and do whatever we want to do. We're going to make us a God like what we knew in Egypt. Right. That's the thoughts of the people, right? Verse 24, and I said unto them, whosoever hath any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it me. Then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf, right? So it's like, here, put the gold in, and boop, a calf came out. But you know, it was fashioned and molded into this calf, right? So now Moses is inquiring from his brother Aaron as to what is going on with the people. Now it says in verse 25, this is how it correlates to what we're reading in 16:15. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies, right? Not physically naked, but spiritually naked, because now they had just went against the Most High. They just fell away from the Lord. So now that Aaron has now conspired with them, or they conspire with Aaron to make this calf, here come Moses coming to check them. What are y'all doing? What are y'all doing here with this calf? Who did this? Why did y'all do? So now they're exposed. That's what the Most High and Yahushua don't want us to have happen in that day. We don't want to be caught off guard and exposed and naked, meaning we're not doing what the Most High wants us to do. All right. So that's 23 to 25 of chapter 32 of the book of Exodus. Now that links with verse 15 back in Revelation 16. So that was Numbers 15, 38. I think I stopped at 40. Job 29, 14. Con, what else? What is, you got the rest?
Exodus 32, 23, 25.
Numbers 15. I got you. 38 to 40. First Thessalonians, the 5th chapter, verses 1 to 4. Which one?
I understand it. But
Genesis?
Yeah.
2? Was it 2 or 3? 3. Save that. Yeah. 16, 15.
Okay, I'm talking. Go ahead.
Yeah. I say save it because I know I'm looking at yeah, where I'm like, man, I know where. So now let's continue on. Back in Revelation 16:16. We didn't even take a break yet, right? It says, and he gave fiddle. All right, Con, we're back. So it may take a couple seconds to refresh on your screens. Con.
You can just link Joel chapter 3.
Con, so I was gonna go. On point.
I guess 9 down to 14. You want to do the sun.
I was gonna start. I was gonna start from. I was gonna jump to 2. Yeah, and then. Con. So this is, we're gonna go to Joel, the 3rd chapter and the 2nd verse. And then we'll jump. So in Joel 3 and 2, it says, I will gather, so like I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, or decisions. And I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. That's why I said all of this doesn't really matter about anybody else but us, how it deals with the other nations. He says he's going to gather them all and plead with them for what they've done to Israel and for his heritage and his name.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It shows the name Jehoshaphat, right? You go into the Hebrew, that name means Yahweh is judge.
Mm-hmm.
Very appropriate.
Done. I hope everybody heard that on the teleconference line, that the name Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat in the Hebrew, Yahweh has judged, or judged, is judged. Yahweh is judged. So he's now judging or pleading. He's not really pleading, like in the sense of, you know, hey, why you do this? Why you do this? But it's just a choice of words here. He's going to judge them there, right? He's going to make a decision or decide their fate there, right? So that's Joel 3 and 2. Now jump to verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong, right? So all of them in that day, they're going to have the spirit of war in them, right? Those who wouldn't think to go fight, they're going to want to go fight in that day, right? It says, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause the mighty one to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, right? So is there in that place where we're reading about Armageddon, right? In that region is where the Most High is going to assemble this great war to really take place, right? To start over there in that area. All right, so that was Joel 3 and 2, and I read from verses 9 down to 13. I stopped at 12, the water.
That's where I'm getting.
Good. Now we're back in verse 17. It says, the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done, right? So this is going to be the signifying where their sins, their wickedness is done. That's it. It's over. It's finished. Now that final judgment is now about to hit. You can link this up with Luke 21. Come on. Luke 21. Luke 21 and 24. Con. Somebody read that.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away in captivity into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be thrown down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Right. So it says Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Right. When it has reached the pinnacle of the height. Right. Go to 2nd Ezra, the 11th chapter. 2nd Ezra, the 11th chapter. And the 40th verse.
Okay.
Wow. 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha, chapter 11, verse 40.
And the 4th came.
Mm-hmm.
Go to page 28. Go to page 28. 28. On the left-hand side or the right-hand side. 40. And the 4th came and overcame all the beasts that were bad, and had power over the world with great fulfillment, and over the world, over the whole compassion of the earth with much wicked oppression, and so long time dwelt he upon the earth with decent. I pronounce that right? Yeah. See, that's Satan he's talking about.
Say again? No, this is dealing, because it says the 4th came. Now remember, that's what I was about.
Okay.
Right. So now remember, when you read in Daniel's, it talks about 4 beasts there, right? And Daniel describes the 4 beasts, and then he gets to the 4th beast, and he says he's going to be different from the rest, right? So now this is describing that in 2nd Ezra 11 and 40. It's talking about the 4th came, this 4th beast, and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness. Now, whole list, go to the 12th chapter of Ezra, right? The 12th chapter of Ezra and the 10th verse. So in 2nd Ezra 12 and 10, it says, and he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision. The eagle whom thou sawest coming up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel. So in Daniel's vision, he was describing the 4th beast, but he didn't go into as much detail as to describe him in the manner in which the Most High is revealing to Ezra. But now he's letting them know, he's like, what Daniel talked about, this is that same 4th beast that's come up. He's the one that went and took over everything, right? And as we get into Revelation, the 7th chapter is going to show you the correlation from that 4th beast, which was Rome, and how that is now extended into what is now. 17. What did I say? 17. Revelation 17 will go more into that. But here, the 4th beast is describing the same thing that Daniel described when you read in Daniel, I think the 7th chapter, is now describing this. So now back in 2nd Ezra 11 and 40, I'll pick it up. So the 4th came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth, for thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up unto the highest, and thy pride unto the mighty. Pakwa was talking about that pride earlier, right? Therefore, all this is not going and taking a blind eye. Now check what the Most High says. The highest also have looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended. and his abominations are fulfilled, right? So as we're reading over here in Revelations, he's saying, you know what? This is it. It's done, right? We got to put a nail in this coffin. We got to stunt this guy's growth. That final, all those judgments that we've been reading about that has led up to this point, now it's got to bring him down. That's what John is seeing in his vision. That's what Ezra saw. All these piled up abominations, harming people that did nothing, no wrong to them, loving people who lied, not judging the world of the earth in truth. That's it. That's what Yahweh Shah said. They're going to continue until it's fulfilled. And now it's fulfilled. Bakwa then Khan Nabiyah. Khan.
It's Psalm 39, 5.
39, 5.
Psalm 39 and verse 5. Behold, thou hast made my days as an end breath, and mine age is as nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity. So, as much as Esau acquired himself as the top guy of all the other nations or men that follow them, no matter how much thinking that they think they did or how much invention, how much missiles that they have, at the end of the day, it's all a waste of time. At their best state, the Most High is going to prove them they are nothing.
Right.
Right.
Nabiyah.
Now on that same line, 1 Corinthians chapter 1. Verse 25. First Corinthians chapter 1, verse 25, it says, because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. That's good. Chapter 1, verse 25.
All right, so let's go back to Revelation 16,
18.
16 and 17 again. So it says, and the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, it is done. Right? So this is now what we just read, the Most High making that decision. It says, and there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake and so great, right? So that's what we're waiting for, that time where this earthquake, this war, this judgment is not going to be like anything else that we had ever seen, I had ever read about.
At the end of the day, when the smoke go down, they're gonna look back at what the hell did we have to fight about?
Right.
What was all that fight about? In 1 hour, everything is destroyed. All this billions and billions of dollars we spend in building this and go to cities, conquer different cities, and send things in outer space. You know, send satellites and all that is gonna.
Right.
What really we have? What have been our fight? Which
is synonymous with Luke 16 chapter where Yahweh shot with the rich man and Lazarus when he gets to the end of it, where he's now asking to go and send someone back because he sees the final judgment. The rich man sees the final judgment, and now he wants to go and send someone back to come and right the wrong. But Yahweh Shah's like, they got the prophets there telling them what's going on, and they still not listening. What do you mean got to send someone back? They have them there. They got Moses there, right? But that's still not going to change anything. They're not going to repent. Like we read earlier, they're going to continue to blaspheme up until that final moment, right? Up until that final moment, that's what's going to happen.
Well, they're going to keep on to make a believe about
it.
They're going to keep on doing what they're going to do.
So the Most High make a believer out of them. Con. So now verse 19, it says, and that great city, which is talking about Babylon, was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before Yahweh, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. Right. So as the wars is going on, right? As far as for the city, the great city being divided up, broken up, it says that Babylon came before into remembrance before the Lord. Meaning all the way going back to the time of David and the time of Moses, they all prophesied about, said, don't forget what Esau did. Don't forget what Edom did.
Right.
Don't forget what they did to us in the strait. Now is the time to remember all of that, right? I ain't forget. Now I'm about to remind you of all the things that you've done to me and to my people. And now I'm about to give you that cup. Jump back to Revelations 14. Revelations 14 and 9. So it says in Revelations 14 and 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. So that cup, the wine of the fierceness of his wrath, that's the judgment that's going to come. You read the same thing, I think, in Revelations 21:8, when it talks about the second death, right? All of those will have their part which burneth in the lake of fire and brimstone, second death, because they didn't want to follow the Most High. All right? I'm not going there. You can just write it down. Revelations 21 and 8. So that same fire and brimstone that we just read in 14, 9, 10, and 11 is the same thing that the Lord is bringing. That's what the Most High's cup is prepared for them. That's the judgment. The heavens shall roll like a scroll. All of that is being described by the Most High in various different books on how that judgment is going to look in that day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So reading on, it says, and every island fled away. The mountains were not found, right? So it's not talking about there's not going to be any more mountains in the earth. Mm-hmm. Remember, we read in the top of the class that these mountains represent what? Kingdoms, governments, right? That's why we read about Babylon, the ancient Babylonians being a destroying mountain or destroying kingdom, destroying power. So all of these big major governments and these smaller ones, they ain't going to have no more space, no more rulership, no more place in that day. It's a new regime coming in. Christ is coming in, right? The Most High is in his presence for us to fulfill what we do in the Lord's Prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth like it's done up in heaven. So Christ is coming to bring that kingdom on the earth, right? So there's no more someone else saying, yeah, I got a space to rule over here and I got a little thing. Nah, that's not happening. Verse 21, and there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, like we just read about, every stone about the weight of a talent, and men blasphemed Yahweh because of the plague of the hail. For the plague thereof was exceeding great. So they still going to be cursing the Most High and Christ and the angels out when that destruction is coming. The hell with you! Right? When you see all this happening, because remember, people have been conditioned into believing that when that day comes, that these is aliens coming to take over. Right? These is some kind of mystical whatever that's coming to destroy. So when you watch movies and they show you this happening, what happens? They're upset at these things. They're like, we gotta go and kill them. We gotta get rid of them. Let's get the BF bombers and this, that, and then go fight. Right? Yeah. So they are still gonna be blaspheming against the Most High amidst this destruction. Right? But then once it's done, then they're gonna be broken. And they're gonna be taught again, like we read in Isaiah 2, they now gotta come and learn the right way. You gotta come to learn the light. You have to come. If not, no water for you, no rain for your crops, famine for you, right? That's the punishment, that's the judgment. But up until then, this is all the things that's gonna be happening. To the last straw, they're gonna still be cursing the Most High out, and we're gonna be watching them go through this turmoil, like it describes in Revelations 11. So, Pequod, Kahan Nabiyah, and then Kahan Yahukanan. Salak. Kahan Pequod, Kahan Nabiyah, Kahan Yahukanan.
That's why you have the alien doctrine. To the point where they don't want to say angels of God. But it's still not right because they want people to think that they are the God on earth. They don't want to go and take. Right? So there's no such thing as alien coming. And if they come, we're gonna shoot at them. But if they tell people the angel of God, who want to fight the angel of God, but they don't want to push that alien doctrine.
Kind of just to piggyback when you said wasn't my comment, but that's the important aspect of Job 9:24 as well. What Kamala is talking about. In these movies, what always happens? They always figure out some kind of way to mess up their technology or harm them, right? See, they're flesh and blood, just like us. They may be more advanced, but we can get them. That's more lies, right? More false hope. But I wanted to make a comment on how earlier on in the chapter it says they gnaw their tongues with pain. I think it's kind of funny. It's like they're going to be having her to cursing God, right, for the judgment. But they didn't even do that. They gnaw their tongues with pain.
Yeah, I even as a teacher was one of my accounting teachers. I heard him say, if Christ came, he'll be the first one to kiss.
Oh, like yeah. I don't. You're gonna destroy me.
I just want to read it quickly. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 7. Let's go down.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3.
Yeah, 3, verse 7. So all this judgment is coming upon the nation about Israel. Yeah, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 7. And in the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. Verse 8, they shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love and shall abide with him, for grace and mercy is to his taste, and he that care for his elect. But the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imagination, which have neglected the righteous and forsaken the Lord.
Okay. So that's the blessing and the punishment or the curse for those who obey or disobey in these last days. Right. All right. So that concludes the 16th chapter. It's almost 2 o'clock. We're going to take a much needed pause, break. Stretch your legs, get something to eat. Lawfully, no cooking, kindling a fire, and then we'll come back, Lord's will, around 2:30 to pick up on the 17th chapter. All right.
Mm-hmm.